Gladys, is everything okay? We weren't expecting you today. I don't have anything to offer you, I'm afraid. Is it illegal now for me to come and visit my son? Am I not allowed to see him anymore? Are you telling me I have to call you in advance? I can't just turn up when I want to see you both. It's not that. It's just that often we have to do things outside the house at the weekend. I don't want you to come over when we're out, that's all. Besides, we were about to head out right now. That's why I'm surprised to see you. Oh, hi, Mom. What are you doing here? Is something the matter? Where can you possibly be going every weekend? I had expected that you would be so busy with work during the week that you would need to spend the weekends at home catching up on everything. Don't you meal prep so you can have dinner ready through the week? And when do you do all the cleaning? If you're never at home, when do you think you'll be able to get all the housekeeping done? Oh, Mom, please just leave it. Did you come over just to nag us? We're both grown adults. Please just leave us to do things our own way. I can see from here that you don't have a clue how to run a house. Look at the floors. They're covered in dust. Do you ever do any mopping? You must sweep at the very least. I assumed you would be more grateful. I know I would be if my mother-in-law had bought me a house. I would never let it get into this state. You should sweep and mop every day to keep your floors glossy. It's just common sense, if you want a welcoming home for guests. It makes me feel like I should never have bought you a house if this is how you're going to treat it. I'm really sorry, Gladys. I can see why this is hurtful to you, but we've just been so busy lately and things have slipped a bit, I guess. Can I get you some tea or cookies or anything? No, I don't want anything. I came over because I had something to say to you, actually. You remember that your sister Sophie is getting married soon? Of course I do. You're very proud, so you talk about it all the time. Her future husband, Kevin, is a successful doctor, right? That's right. I'm so proud of her. She's so similar to me, so it makes sense that she would choose an accomplished young man to be her partner. If you had been more similar to me, maybe you would have chosen a better woman to marry. Oh well. Anyway, she told me that he's amazing with the housework and jobs at home, too, as well as in his career. What a catch! I'm glad she's carrying on tradition. I hope her new husband pushes himself to be promoted, though. It's not enough for our family to just be doctors. Your father was the head doctor at the university hospital, you know. He sure sounds like an impressive guy. That's great that we're going to have generation after generation of doctors in the family. How did Sophie meet such a successful, driven guy when she's not really much of an academic herself? Has she told you how they met? That's what I've been wondering, too. It sounds like his family is wealthy, too. He's really the whole package. Do you think it makes our family look a bit ordinary? Compared to them, we're pretty average. I mean, it's not like Sophie hasn't got her own merits. She's a very pretty girl, as you know. Even so, I'm worried about what his family might expect from us if they do follow through with the wedding. I don't think we'll be able to do much for her, and it makes me worry they might be judgmental. Are you talking about paying for the wedding and buying your new in-laws fancy wedding gifts? Honestly, Mom, it's pretty clear that she's made up her mind and she's going to marry him. Me and Jess have already said we'll buy them the fridge of their registry. It's the newest model. I'm sure that's enough. Will you be able to do that? Surely it will be really expensive, especially if they want a fancy brand new one. I feel like I should really help them to buy a house, since we did that for when you married Jess. Actually, this house is pretty close to the hospital he works at, I think. You know what? This place is actually a good size. It's new, too. It's just right for a newlywed couple. What I was thinking is that you could give them this place as a wedding gift, to really make a good impression on his family. I'm sorry? I'm not sure I quite follow you. Did you just say we should give this house to Sophie? For free? Don't you think you're springing this idea on us too suddenly? It doesn't matter if you think it's sudden. Don't you see how it's a good idea? I'm really not asking too much. The two of you could just come and live with me anyway. It would be fine. I'm sure we could find space for most of your things. And Jess, you could help me with the cleaning. I can tell you don't lift a finger doing the housework and cleaning around here. How do you expect to learn to be a good wife if you're so lazy? It would be good for you to come and live with me. You can watch my morning routine and learn how to cook and clean like you should. I could do with some help with jobs anyway. Now that I'm getting older, it's hard to keep up with things on my own. I see what you mean, Gladys, but we haven't even lived here for a full year. It's a bit awkward for us to have you come round and suddenly tell us we need to get out so your daughter and her new husband can move in. Besides, even if we did move in with you, it would be a really long commute to the office every day for Chris. It's just not convenient. Plus, I just can't imagine what the dynamic would be like if we lived together. I feel like it would be uncomfortable for everyone. Are you saying you don't want to live with me? I don't see why. Like I said, I think it would be good for you to learn to clean properly. I just haven't ever thought about it before. That's all. I feel like all newlyweds want to be able to have some alone time in the first few years, too, instead of bothering their parents all day. Besides, if her new husband is so rich and successful, why doesn't he buy them a house? I'm sure his family would be able to help them. I'm sure that would be an agreeable solution for everyone, and it wouldn't mean we had to move out at such short notice so soon after we first moved in. No matter how much you think times haven't changed, it's common now for partners to split house payments instead of the woman's family giving one as some kind of dowry. That's true, but it's not like Sophie has any money saved up to put towards a down payment. I don't want her to feel discouraged about their chances of having a home together right after they get married. I want her new husband's family to feel included and like we are making an equal effort, not just ignoring them and expecting him to support her. Surely you feel the same way. You're her big brother, after all. Don't you want to make her life as easy as possible? Of course I do. You know what, Mom? Sure. We can move out so Sophie and her new husband can have this place. You bought it for us, after all, so we can't really complain. Plus, you should always listen to your parents. Babe, what are you talking about? How can you just make that decision before we've even talked about it? How dare you raise your voice to your husband like that? Show some respect. Don't you think you should have figured out how to buy your own house when the two of you got married? Honestly, you owe me more than my son does. At least he's a blood relative. You're only my daughter-in-law. Your parents were perfectly happy to only give you a few tens of thousands of dollars without any kind of guilty conscience. Goodness, would you have ever thought about how unfair this felt to me if I hadn't said anything to you now? She's right, babe. She did buy this house for us. My mom is within her rights to tell us what's best to do with the house since she paid for it. When you think about it, this is an investment in my family. Sophie's husband isn't just some random guy. He's a successful doctor. If he does well, we all do. Of course we should respect what she wants and move out of here. It will pay us back in the long run anyway. Like I said, how useful will it be to have a doctor in the family? I bet he'll give us a decent discount on any medical bills, which will be a really great saving. Even so, it seems a bit much to come over and kick us out of the place we've been living in so suddenly. It doesn't matter what you think. This house belongs to me, so I can decide what happens to it. I don't need your permission or agreement to give the house to someone else. Anyway, now we've settled what the plan is. Make sure you have all your stuff packed up and out of the house by the end of the month. I want it all to be ready for Sophie and her new husband. I'm sure her husband would love to see it and check he's happy with it before they get themselves moved in after the wedding. I bet Sophie is going to love it. Oh, she'll be so excited. Gladys, I understand your point about the house legally belonging to you. But at the end of the day, we are your family too. Plus, as the people currently living here, I don't think this is something you should be deciding on your own. I appreciate that I'm not the owner, and I am very grateful to you for letting us live here. I'm sure the doctor would understand our situation too. He knows we've been living here together. I doubt he would feel comfortable kicking us out. I would expect you would feel the same. No one could argue that we aren't a married couple who are settled here. I think that we must have some legal rights too. Even tenants get some say in their housing contracts. Oh, do you think so? Don't you think you're being a bit unreasonable expecting to be handed a free house, no strings attached? It's only been a year since we got married. Even if we split the place with Sophie and her husband, you would be getting a great deal out of it. After all, your family isn't rich or wealthy, so you're not really in a position to argue with my mom. Best to just do as she says. Exactly. I'm glad you agree with me, sweetie. I've never once asked for any money from you for getting to live here. Anyway, will you be able to get packed up and moved out of here by the end of the month? Oh, and one other thing I forgot to mention. I told Sophie and the doctor that we should have dinner together this Saturday. Make sure you're there too. Cancel any plans. You haven't spent much time with him, so it would be good to get to know your future brother-in-law before the wedding. Of course, Mom. Man, my mom really can be a bit much sometimes. This feels like the sort of thing where she could have just called us and explained instead of coming all the way over. Did she say anything about why she came to tell us in person? Honestly, though, I feel like you were pretty rude to her, babe. When she's come all this way for whatever reason, you should at least invite her in for some food or something. How could you just stand there with your mouth shut the whole time? You barely even spoke to her. I could tell you made her feel really uncomfortable about what's already a difficult situation. Now she's offered for us to move in with her, but if we do that, it's going to leave me stuck in the middle while you two are making all this tension. Why couldn't you have thought about the position this puts me in? And why couldn't she have thought that it's pretty unfair to ask her son and his new wife to move out of the house not even a year after they moved in? She gave us so little warning, too, so there's no time to get ready. How am I supposed to tell my mom about what happened? Should I just call her up and say my own mother-in-law kicked us out of our house? It's like she expects us to pack up and go overnight. This is going to be so much work, and we're just too busy right now to get everything done by her deadline. I've barely started getting used to being married, and now the honeymoon phase is over and we're being kicked out. Honey, you know it's nothing to do with that. It's just because we're going to have this rich and successful surgeon joining the family. It sounds like he's gotten used to a pretty impressive standard of living, what with his rich parents and amazing career. Do you think he would be happy living an ordinary life with Sophie in some little house in a small town somewhere? It might be a difficult situation for us, but we'll be fine living with my mom and dad, I'm sure. Do you want our new brother-in-law to have to move in with his in-laws? Getting bossed around all day while they try to enjoy their honeymoon? You know that's not what I mean. I think your mom is being so kind and generous in wanting to give them a house. I just don't understand why it had to be our house. There are plenty of nice properties near where they live that would be perfect for them. Besides, I'm not exactly excited to go and live with my in-laws either. I only paid for the whole wedding because she had said she was going to buy us a house to live in. And weddings are hardly cheap. It's not just some house party with red plastic cups. I get that, babe, but the house was still more expensive, I'm sure. It can't cost that much to get married. Not enough to have bought a house anyway. I feel like you're being pretty selfish about this. My sister is marrying a successful guy from a wealthy family. Of course we want to give them a good life together. Are you that jealous of her? You think I'm jealous? Do you think I would have married you if that was the life I wanted? Yes, I do. I heard women tend to compare their marriages to the couples around them, and it seems to be true. You're not really anything super special yourself either, so there's no reason for you to act like I'm the one that's brought you down here. Anyway, at the end of the day, the ownership of this house belongs to me and my mother. And you both agreed to us moving in with them, so it's settled. Nothing more to discuss on the matter. If you have some kind of complaint, go out and buy your own house to live in for as long as you want. Ha! Do you really think I'll just shut up and follow you when you're treating me like this? You're not even trying to understand my point of view. How can I live with your mom and dad when the two of you keep ganging up on me like this? It's only natural that disagreements will happen if we do go and live with your parents. We already have fights with them now sometimes, seeing them every so often. Misunderstandings are going to happen, but they will be more frequent if we live together and see them all the time. It seems pretty clear to me that we are going to become really miserable and stressed out if we move in with them. Even besides that, it already feels like you resent me for working at a big international company while you're still working for a smaller business. If you really think it's unfair, you should become as successful in your own career as Sophie's future husband. That way, my mom would want only the best for you, too. Right now, though, it's clear who in this situation is the most valuable. My mom has no choice but to choose between us, and the right decision is pretty obvious. I know we promised to stick with each other through all the tough times when we got married, but we are similar people, at similar levels, and I always thought we didn't have very many differences. I understand your mom is from a different generation, but I am surprised that you are on her side on this. I guess I assumed you would see things my way since we agree on basically everything else. This doesn't feel like a very fair marriage, honestly. I made it very clear that I didn't like her plan and I thought it was really unfair on us. And yet you completely ignored everything I said and just told me I had to do as my mother-in-law told me because I wasn't successful enough to argue about it. If you seriously hand over the house to Sophie and her future husband, I'm not going to just sit here and let it happen, you realize. Are you really not going to let this go? I can't believe you're being so selfish right now. You've been so rude and thoughtless about this whole situation. My mom isn't in a position to buy 2 houses for us and Sophie, so I really don't see what other option we have. Can't you help out a bit? Surely you have some savings somewhere. Besides, moving in with them now doesn't mean we'll live with them for the rest of our lives, so we could always figure something else out down the line. Whether we do live with them for the rest of our lives or just for one day, I still think it's completely unfair of your mom to kick us out like this. If I had known marrying you meant literally marrying your family and moving in with them, I honestly don't know if I would have made the same decision as I did. What kind of married couple lives with their parents these days? Housing is expensive, but we could manage splitting the rent somewhere cheap. This is just how our situation is right now, though, babe. There's nothing you can do to take back what has already happened. You're really frustrating me now. I feel like you're making no effort to understand where my mom and I are coming from on this. My God. So she just turned up and said you both had to move out of the house because Sophie is marrying a successful surgeon? That's crazy. I know. Obviously, I'm really grateful that she gave us the house, but I did agree to pay for the wedding in exchange. Besides, no matter how successful this guy is, it seems wild to me that she would just tell us that we had to pack up and get out with so little warning. I'm glad you agree with me. I was starting to wonder if I was overreacting. I tried to talk to Chris about it, because he was siding with her, but he kept shutting me down and saying we had no choice but to move in with his parents. They both keep trying to act like I'm the one being selfish and narrow-minded, but I just don't see it. If someone did this to my sister, I would be absolutely livid. No, I totally get where you're coming from. Plus, let's be realistic. It's not an expensive house, so I doubt she paid much for it. You paid for the whole wedding and insisted on buying your in-laws all those fancy gifts too to say thank you. Looking at the value of the house and what you spent on the wedding, don't you think you've both spent about equal amounts? You're right. After all that, it's unfair for her to act like she paid for the house completely out of the goodness of her heart. It's unbelievable that she would come over and kick you guys out. It just isn't fair or right. You took your husband's name when you got married, right? Couldn't you argue that since she put his name on the documents too, it also belongs to you? See, the problem with that is that Chris agrees that we should just give it to Sophie and stop complaining. I did try to talk to him about it, like I said. I guess he just thinks that since this rich surgeon is coming into the picture, we have no choice but to give him the house to make a good impression and keep him in the family. I get it that he has a great job, and I'm sure he's a good guy. Even so, I just can't sit by and watch my house be given to my little sister-in-law just because she's marrying a wealthy guy. It's so cruel. No, I totally agree with you. The whole situation is so weird, really. Oh, wait, what's this? What's wrong? This cake has something weird in it. It just got stuck in my teeth. Oh, what is this? Oh my goodness, that looks like a bit of plastic. Excuse me. Could we get some help over here? Yes, ma'am. How can I help you? This cake had something strange in it. Look at this. My friend just bit into it and it got stuck in her teeth. If she hadn't noticed it, that could have been a big problem. What if she had choked? She's right. What if I had swallowed whatever this is? Why was it even in the cake in the first place? Yes, there is no reason this should be in the cake. Are you sure you didn't put it there on purpose? I don't see how it would have gotten into the cake during baking. What did you just say? Why on earth would we put plastic in a cake and then try to eat it? Don't you think you should just apologize and make things right first, before you start interrogating us? My friend could have been hurt. I'm sorry, it's just that we've had a few instances recently of people deliberately putting strange things in their food and then complaining and demanding a refund. Perhaps that wasn't what happened here. My apologies for questioning you. Can I get you a new slice of cake? Complimentary, of course. What do you mean, perhaps that's not what happened here? Do you really think this is an appropriate way to treat a customer? Where's your manager? I want to speak to them about this. Clearly, you're not able to resolve this yourself, so I'll just have to speak to your superior. I assure you that won't be necessary, ma'am. I can help you with this. There's no reason to call the manager over. I assume you wouldn't call the manager over if you weren't telling the truth, so I would be happy to offer you some compensation. I hope you agree with this. Let me get you a new slice of cake on the house. You weren't hurt, I hope. Did the plastic scratch you or anything? I'm guessing this got into the cake by accident. Perhaps the baker knocked it into the batter and didn't notice. Why are you still trying to insist it wasn't your fault? You should have checked the food before you brought it over. She's right. We all make mistakes. That's only natural. But if you fail to check something properly and make a mistake like that, you should at least own up to it and admit responsibility. Don't try and blame someone else for something you got wrong. That's what you're doing here, isn't it? You look to be a similar age to me, so don't try to teach me a life lesson here. I'll get you a new piece of cake, but that's the best I can do. The manager won't respond if I try to contact them today anyway. She's out meeting some friends or something. Let's just agree to move on from this, okay? What did you just say? How can you be so unprofessional, talking to us like that? I told you I want to speak with the manager. Come on, call them. Let's take a photo of the plastic in the cake. That way we can come back in tomorrow and show the manager ourselves. Looking at it, I'm sure they'll have no choice but to agree with us. You can't argue with a photograph as proof. It's been so long since we managed to get together for a catch-up, and now this? What's going on? I honestly can't believe what's happening right now. I know, I can't believe that employee thought it would be okay to speak to us like that. This could have been really dangerous. You remember we're going to meet Sophie's fiancé, Kevin, this Saturday, right, babe? It might be a good idea to pick up a bottle of wine or some flowers. Just something we could give him to say welcome to the family. We owe him one for taking Sophie off our hands. I thought she was still going to be my problem when I'm old and gray. Yeah, I know. You told me yesterday. I don't see why we have to give him gifts. We're already moving out so he can have our house. Isn't that enough? God, you're really still going on about this. Can't you just accept the situation and we can all move on? Our family is gaining a successful surgeon. Think about how helpful it will be to have him around. It's going to save us a fortune on medical bills to be able to get his opinion on things. I don't care if he's a rocket scientist. No matter what he's going to be able to help us with, I just don't want to move out. I've already explained my side of things, and I'm not going to change my mind. Fine, let's just leave it then. I'll talk to my mom again, but let's just leave it for now. Make sure you don't forget the plan. Obviously, it's the first time we've met Sophie's fiancé, so please just be polite and don't make him uncomfortable, okay? Besides, remember how you couldn't come to the last family get-together because you had work? It would be great for us all to get together, so make sure you're there. Are you serious? Will you really talk to your mom again about what we can do? Yes, I will. Just don't bring it up this Saturday and embarrass us and him, alright? Oh, and another thing. Don't go picking fights or causing any problems. We need to be a harmonious unit to show him how close our family is. There's no point trying to impress him with money or success, since his family is clearly more well-off than ours. We shouldn't try to imitate them. I think it's more important to show a tight family unit and just make him feel really welcome. So you had better not go starting any fights with my mom. Just keep your mouth shut for one evening. Let's all get along for today, huh? The way you're talking about this makes it sound like I'm some kind of drama queen just looking to start a fight. Fine, I won't mention anything to your mom tonight, and I'll try not to get upset and turn things into a fight. It's not like I enjoy arguing with her. I would much rather get along and be friendly with her. Exactly. So do your best to stay quiet and let things go smoothly today. I'm begging you. Please. Oh, Kevin, it's so good to see you. What a long day you must have had, with work and then coming out to see us. I bet you had already had such a busy day with all your patients, right? I hear you're very in demand at the hospital. I hope your journey went smoothly. Not too much traffic on your way over. Oh, I'm really fine, thank you. I'm sorry for making you come out to a restaurant near the hospital when you had no reason to come this way. I just couldn't make the time otherwise. It has been pretty busy recently. I heard this place is really popular and has a lot of amazing dishes. Go ahead and order anything you want to try. Oh, that is so generous of you. Thank you for organizing this evening and making a reservation. Sophie is a very lucky girl to have found you. What a gentleman. And so handsome, too.
Oh, I know. As soon as I laid eyes on him, I knew he was a level above most other guys. Where's Jess, though?
She just had to go to the bathroom for a second. I'm sure she'll be back any moment.
Oh, is everyone here already? Great to see you. Oh?
Is something wrong? Why do I feel like I've already seen this guy a bunch of times? Who could I be mixing him up with? Babe, what's going on? Why are you staring at poor Kevin like that? Remember to blink sometimes.
He's right. Is something going on, Jess? Have the two of you already met?
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've met Jess. You aren't one of my patients, are you? I'm sorry, it's difficult to remember what every single one of my patients looks like since I see so many every day. You'll have to forgive me if I do know you. No, of course. It's a big hospital. You must meet hundreds of new people every day. It's more than understandable.
Yes, I'm sure you're right. Sorry for staring.
I'm sure I know him. Who could he possibly be? His face seems so familiar. Well, however we may or may not have met in the past, it's lovely to see you today. I must say, this has been an excellent first impression. You work for a company that makes nutritional supplements, is that right? I heard it was a pretty big organization. If you would let me know the name of the brand, I can speak to the directors at the hospital and ask if we could recommend them to our patients. Is that something you would be interested in? Oh, goodness! We're already seeing the benefits we can get from having such a respected doctor in the family.
Of course! It's not easy to become a doctor. It takes a lot of perseverance and determination.
I will certainly always do my best to help when and where I can. It seems like you guys are a really close unit. It's great to see a family that is so tight-knit. My family is full of academics, so we're a bit quieter and more reserved. It's nice to have some noise and business in the house. Even when we do talk, it's usually about our work or whatever we've been studying recently. It doesn't make for the most interesting dinner time conversation. There are strengths to every different kind of family, I'm sure. Your relatives are all very successful in their fields, which is its own kind of advantage. Well, that's very kind of you to say. By the way, I remember you saying you had a house that Sophie and I could live in after the wedding. Is that right? Truly, I am so grateful to you. It's not easy to buy a house these days, so we really do appreciate your help to get started on the property ladder. Yes?
Oh, yes, that's right. You're right. It's not easy buying a house in this economy. It's actually a property that my mother gave to them recently. It should make your commute much quicker and easier, babe. It's really close to your hospital, so you won't have to spend ages sitting in traffic every day. Anyway, I talked to my mom about it, and she thinks you will really like the place. Since we spoke about it, I feel like she's changed her attitude towards me a lot. She really treats me like an adult.
You must be a much-loved daughter-in-law, Jess, even before you offered to give up your house for us. Thank you again for your generosity. We really do appreciate it. To be completely honest with you, my family aren't in a position to help us buy a property. There's not that much money in academia, you know. All of them work in medicine like me, but obviously that comes with a lot of expenses to become qualified. Between college fees, studying abroad, setting up their own practices, there's not a lot left over. It's a well-paid career, but it costs a lot to get into in the first place. I've only recently finished my residency and started earning decent money too. Of course, we completely understand your position, Kevin. Besides, marriage isn't just about money. I know your job isn't the only reason Sophie chose you. She must have seen you and realized she could envision your future together, growing old and sharing many experiences. I sure hope so. I'm so grateful for everything you've done for us already. I promise I will be the best husband Sophie could have ever asked for. That is all I could ask of you, sweetie. Well, I think we're beginning to learn a bit more about you. You've been so open with us and all our questions. Thank you. I heard you were at an Ivy League college, is that right? How impressive. It's hard enough to get into medical school. You must have really knuckled down to manage to be accepted to a top college.
Yes, he went to Harvard. That's not all either. He spent a semester studying abroad in the middle. He was one of the top students in his class.
Oh, babe, stop showing off for me. At the end of the day, I'm just a newly qualified surgeon. Everyone in my family has studied abroad at some point, so it was kind of expected that I would too. It wasn't some huge achievement. I don't see how it's anything special, really. Oh, Kevin, you're being too humble. You should be proud of yourself for everything. Not everyone can manage studying abroad while getting their medicine degree. It's really very impressive. Babe, why are you being so quiet? You haven't said a word for ages. Don't you think Kevin should be proud? You almost ended up at an Ivy League too, right? Still, Michigan is a great college. Oh, you were at Michigan? I heard it's beautiful there, right by the lakes. I suppose that's why you couldn't find a job at a better company, even though you're clearly very talented. Some companies are so picky about only hiring Ivy League graduates. It sure seems like you're doing a great job, though. I remember that I did think it was a bit of a waste when you told me you were working at a smaller business. Sorry? I thought you said this was the first time we had met. I don't remember saying anything about that. Yes, that's right, but I'm basing things off my impression of you, that's all. I meet so many people every day. I've gotten pretty good at telling if someone will be successful just based on their face, body language, and how they conduct themselves. Wouldn't you say you're a pretty determined person? That's certainly how you seem, anyway. To be honest, Kevin, I would say she's more stubborn than just determined. I wish she was a bit more flexible sometimes, but she's never really changed much. I can see how that is frustrating in personal relationships, but that kind of personality always does well in a career environment. If you had gone to an Ivy League, I bet you would have been given job offers by all the biggest companies as soon as you graduated. God, I'm acting like your older brother. You're right, though. She is very smart. Unfortunately, grades aren't the only thing that matters when it comes to getting a job out of college these days. So many companies look at which college you went to before they even look at your grades and experience. It's just so competitive out there. I always think it's a real shame.
Come on, guys. Don't you think it's okay for women to just find a job at a decent company? It's not as important as their husbands' careers. If a couple has kids, it's almost always the mother that leaves work to raise their children anyway.
You're right, Sophie. I'm glad I taught you the important things in life, and it's clearly gone in looking at your choice of husband. I went to visit Kevin and Jess recently, and the house was a complete mess. I have no idea what her mother was teaching her when she was growing up. She doesn't even seem to know how to do laundry.
Oh, Mom, give her a break. You're going to upset her. Look, we can't all be perfect wives, you know. I'm sorry, Jess. Sometimes my mom can be a bit too brutally honest, as you know. I hope you know she doesn't mean anything by it, really.
Yes, I understand. Of course you would think of how Jess would feel, Sophie. You're just the most thoughtful person. I appreciate how you clearly love taking care of the people in your life. I think that's something we have in common. I'm sure Gladys and our father-in-law appreciate your kindness as well. Oh, really? Well, yes, you're right. Sophie is very considerate of the people around her. You're still not going to say anything? You've been so quiet all afternoon. It was really uncomfortable. Is it because I didn't ask Mom about staying in the house? Are you mad? I told you I would speak to her about it, but that wasn't the right place to bring it up. I've just got a lot on my mind. I was heard about how your family was judging me for not going to an Ivy League college and saying that's why my job isn't good enough for them. And you really didn't say anything to defend me either. You just sat there. Do you think that makes me feel good? Oh, stop overreacting. You know they were just joking. Besides, I did stick up for you. I complimented you plenty on your work ethic, good grades, all sorts. What more do you want from me? But Kevin meets so many people every day anyway. I'm sure he's not a judgmental guy. I thought it was really interesting how he said he can tell what kind of person someone is just by looking at them. I guess it's a skill he's learned over time. It gave me goosebumps.
Anyone can do that. It's obvious what kind of a person someone is when you look at them. Which hospital did you say he works at again? It's a pretty big one, right?
Yeah, it's the huge one downtown. His dad is the hospital director. Wow, who would have thought Sophie would end up with such a successful guy? Now we'll be able to go straight to him if we get sick in the future. How convenient. Oh my goodness, imagine if we never have to sit and wait like all the other patients ever again. I bet his family will get special treatment. We'll be able to be seen right away. Just imagining how much easier things will be is amazing.
What? Oh, Gladys! What are you doing here?
Have you been out somewhere? You must have just got home, or I'm sure the house wouldn't be in this kind of a state. Is it always this dirty? Don't you think it's time you started to get all these boxes out of here? At this rate, you'll need to hire a moving company to help you pack everything up, or you won't be out of here in time. We'll probably have to hire help to move everything anyway, Mom. Besides, we won't be able to fit everything in your house, so we're just going to bring what we need. There will be less space when all of us are under one roof, obviously. I'm sure you can just sell all the furniture, so that will clear some space too. Plus, then you can use the money you make from that to buy Sophie and Kevin a wedding present. Oh, that's a great idea, actually. I bet Kevin could use a nice watch to keep track of his appointments and surgeries.
We have to sell all our furniture? Babe, I thought you said you were going to talk to her.
I tried talking to her, and we decided it's best if we just move in with her and Dad. There's no use arguing. That's just how things are going to go. Stop nitpicking and complaining. This will be a good thing for you too. If we were to have a kid, we would both be at work all day since we have full-time jobs. There wouldn't be anyone around to take care of the baby while we're gone. If we live with my mom and dad, though, Mom can watch the baby when we go to work. It will be cheaper too, so we'll save on bills. It's a good idea. Mom said she could watch the baby every day if we needed. Think of how much that would be if it was professional childcare. Don't you see how this benefits us too? He's right, Jess. It just makes sense for things to happen like this. I don't understand why you're so determined to be dissatisfied. Stop nagging your husband and just get on with things. We've already talked about this. Just quit all this complaining. You're acting like a spoiled child.
I guess you saying you would talk to your mom was just an empty promise then. There was no way anything was going to change, was there?
What do you mean? I talked to my mom just like I promised. Don't you see that I agree with her? Like I said, we're going to benefit so much from this. It's not like we're committing to live with them for the rest of our lives anyway. We can just move in for now, then if a nice apartment comes up further down the road, we can always move out. This isn't some kind of lifetime decision. Sophie's wedding is the most important thing right now, okay? Can you please get on board with that? Besides, if you live with me, you can get to know my morning routine and learn how to clean the house and take care of your partner. Won't that be great?
Oh, really? Surely you should be teaching your own son all that. I don't see what it has to do with me.
What are you talking about? Why should I teach him about it?
Well, it's only Chris that's going to be living with you, so I don't see how it's relevant to teach me your cleaning routine. I already told you, didn't I? I told you I couldn't live with your mother, and I meant it. I'm dead serious.
What? Well, what are you going to do if we don't live together?
We'll just have to get a divorce, obviously. Watching how you've handled this whole situation has made it clear to me that it's the only option.
I don't understand. You're really going to ask for a divorce just like that? Do you think it's an easy process? Just sign on the dotted line and that's it, you're single again? It hasn't even been a year since we got married. Was our wedding just a joke to you?
It's because it wasn't a joke that I'm saying we should get divorced. Do you think it's reasonable to ask me to move out of my home and spend my days learning how to clean with your mother, just because your sister's husband is a doctor? I've spoken to my mom, and she agrees with me. She said that if your partner starts acting strange or lets you down somehow, you should get out of there as soon as possible before things start to really fall apart. Your family is clearly siding against me, so I've had enough. Let's get a divorce.
Are you really going to stand in front of your mother-in-law and have this conversation? How rude! What are you thinking? You had better just be threatening divorce. There's no way you can be serious. Do you think we're going to trust you again after you've taken this so far? You're being completely irrational. I'm not being irrational, and I can assure you I'm not joking. I don't care what your family thinks of me. Shall we just start the paperwork then? Either way, I've fallen out of love with you through this whole situation. I'm going to follow through with it, so make sure you pick a wife your mother will approve of next time. That way she won't have to go through everything I have. Will you make her move out of her house then too, so that Sophie can have it? I don't mind sorting out all the documents, so I'll send them over when I've done my bit and you can just sign them. Hopefully this will get you both to snap out of it and realize you can't treat people the way you've treated me. Just you try and stop me. In the future, you should pay for your own daughter's wedding gifts by yourself too, instead of taking back your side of the bargain when one person has paid up. How can you be so heartless? Is this really how you want our relationship to end? Yes, it is! I've tried to communicate with you to figure out a middle ground. I can see how frustrating and lonely my life would be in the future if I stay in this situation, and I don't want that for myself. Let's just end things here. Fine, go ahead then. I can't believe you would dare threaten divorce when you found a husband as wonderful as my precious son. Just sort out the paperwork and get out of my family. I don't want a daughter-in-law like you. Yes, I agree. I'm going to get out of here, be free of you all, and live a happy and peaceful life. I can't believe you're really following through with this. I never thought this would be how things would end between us. I'm more surprised that you keep saying how surprised you are by my determination. You'll never meet a man like me again, you realize. Plus, soon enough, we're going to have an influential doctor in our family. Do you think you're going to get any help from us if you come begging in the future? Doctors are very respectable people, sure, but he's not some kind of superhero. Your family hasn't suddenly become some kind of icon just because your little sister got married. I doubt we'll have any reason to talk ever again, so don't try to contact me. Let's just get this over with and realize this is the legal end to our relationship. Fine. This is the end. You're right. Let's agree to never see each other again. How about that? Oh, that's my deepest wish. Man, I do not have fond memories of this cafe. Actually, I don't think we ever spoke to the manager to get everything smoothed over. I wonder if there has been a change in staff after what happened. I assume they've been disciplined for talking to a customer the way they did. Hey, I'm telling you that you must have put those hairs in the food yourself. I'm sure that's not my fault. What did you say to me? No, listen to me now. Look at this and tell me this is one of my hairs that I pulled out of my own head and put in my food. Goodness, another of the same problem. Wait a second. Who is that? I'm sure I recognize that employee. I knew it! That's Sophie's new husband! I thought I recognized him. I did think when I met him at that dinner that I had seen him before. I guess he wasn't wearing a uniform then, so I couldn't quite place who he was. Ha! Hang on a minute. What would a successful doctor be doing working in a cafe like this? You clearly brought a hair into the cafe with you so you could find a fault with your food. Honestly, I can't believe anyone would genuinely do this. Are you going to keep telling me that I'm lying? Why would I put a hair in my own meal? Are you saying I'm the one who's at fault here? Do you think I put the hair in your food then? It's not like the food is poisoned. Whatever. I'm about to quit this stupid job anyway, so feel free to go complain to the manager or report it to someone. Do what you want. Welcome. Come on in. Are you the manager here? There's something I wanted to ask you. I actually tried to speak to you about this before, but it completely slipped my mind. That's why I'm only mentioning it now. Oh, really? How can I help you today? I came by here a few months ago with a friend, and we each got a slice of cake. As my friend was eating hers, she found a big piece of sharp plastic, which got stuck between her teeth. She could have been seriously hurt if she hadn't noticed it in time. We mentioned it to the employee who was working at the time, and they told us we were lying and we had put the plastic in the cake ourselves. Here, I took a picture as proof of what happened. Goodness, I am so sorry about that. If only I had known at the time, of course I would have offered both of you appropriate compensation. Do you remember if it was a male employee by any chance? I think I have his file around here somewhere. Just a moment. Yes, here it is. Was it this man that you spoke to? It was him, yes. I remember his face. Is he a part-time worker here? I don't see him every time I come in. He was a part-timer, yes. To be completely honest, a lot of our customers complained about him, so he's about to be fired. We did try to give him fair warning, and we had several disciplinary meetings with him. He's well over 30 years old, but his social skills and customer service was nowhere near acceptable. I appreciate that he was only a part-time worker, but he seems to have a history of finding a job, working there for a few weeks, then leaving. I was worried about this when I hired him. We needed an extra pair of hands urgently, though, so I decided to give him a chance. I guess I made the wrong call, since things obviously didn't turn out well. I do apologize again for the problem and your inconvenience. Please, can I offer you some compensation for the trouble? No, don't worry about it. I didn't come here to ask you for money. Actually, would you mind if I took a photo of his employee file? I'm sorry. You want a picture of his file? I promise it's nothing illegal or dangerous. But I do have reason to believe he's lying to someone I know about his identity. I can cover his personal information and just take a picture of his ID photo, if that's okay. Oh, I see. Sure, I don't mind, as long as you cover his personal details. Thank you. I really appreciate it. See you around. I knew it. It really is Kevin. If he has a part-time job, why was he pretending to be a doctor? Was it just so he could get married? He must be brave to have a job in this neighborhood and lie about it. Surely he realized someone would recognize him eventually.
Hi, Jess. It's me, Sophie.
Oh, hi, Sophie. Is something wrong? Why are you texting me?
I just heard you had finalized your divorce with my brother. Is that true?
Yes, it is. We finished signing all the paperwork yesterday, so it's officially over now. Why do you ask?
Goodness, Jess. I just don't see why you couldn't have waited until after I was married. It really ruined the excitement for me.
I'm sorry? Is this my fault somehow?
Well, Chris was a complete mess when you ended things. He's been all over the place lately. A lot of people we know are judging our family, too, saying it must have been our fault for some reason. I feel like we were all getting along so well, and it was so great spending time with everyone. And then all of a sudden, you announced that you want to divorce Chris, and now everything is ruined.
Well, what do you want me to do about it?
I want you to come to my wedding. It's next Sunday. Did you know that? I assume you must have heard about it. I want you to come and pretend you and my brother are as in love as ever, just for a short while. It's my big day, and I want everything to be perfect. I already asked Chris, and he said he doesn't mind and he would do it for me. Oh, and another thing. Don't tell anyone about the divorce until after my wedding, okay? It would really spoil the atmosphere. You know the rest of my family will be there, and they don't know about it yet.
Why do I have to do that? I don't owe your family anything. We're separated now. I don't see how we're still connected now that I'm divorced. I'm not legally a part of your family anymore. Besides, I can't come to your wedding anyway. I'm leaving for a trip on the same day.
What do you mean? Don't you think you're being cruel about this? Even if you're divorced now, surely you still hold some love in your heart for Chris, and for his family, too. Are you really going to be this cold-hearted? I just want to get married and have everything be perfect for my special day. Can't you cancel your trip and come to my wedding instead? There's still plenty of time.
I already told you I'm not interested in seeing you or your family again. Please don't try to contact me about this again. My answer will be the same every time. I hope you have a wonderful wedding.
Jess, please.
I can't believe she's still asking me for such huge favors after everything I've already done for her. I bet she has no idea her future husband is a part-time hospitality worker either. I imagine that realization is going to be the thing that ruins her wedding. Now that none of this is my problem, it is kind of funny when you think about it. I wish I could be there to see her face when she finds out he isn't really a doctor, and he's been lying this whole time. Hey, Jess. Hello? What do you want? I thought I told you never to contact me again. Are you waiting to hear from someone else? Sophie just texted me and said that she found your passport and some documents at the house. I'm assuming you're going to need them. I went over and picked them up, so you can come by my place later and get them. I don't want to do that. Just send them by courier or something. Oh, don't be so dramatic. Why are you still being like this? You can't avoid seeing me for the rest of your life, I'm sure. It's your stuff, so you need to come and pick it up. Stop making everyone else work around you. I don't owe you any favors. Don't you think it would be more of a nuisance to see each other than to send off a couple of documents? Although there is something I've been wanting to say to you, so I guess I can stop by. I'll come round tomorrow. How can you possibly have more to say to me? Just come round and get your things. I don't want to have them taking up space in the house. Well, we haven't seen you in a while. Have you been avoiding us? I can't believe you didn't come to Sophie's wedding, after she was so generous as to invite you. Don't you think you're being selfish, not coming to any family events? You never used to be this cold-hearted. It's like I'm seeing a new side of you since the divorce. Surely you realize it would have been more uncomfortable if I had gone to her wedding than stayed away, since Chris and I are divorced now. Besides, did the great doctor say he couldn't accept a divorce? That's a bit of an old-fashioned attitude for an educated young man. There is one thing that I think is very strange, though. Normally, I'm a very understanding person, but... Stop beating around the bush and just spit it out. What are you trying to say? What do you mean you can normally understand most things? How do you know anything about his life or his family? You only met the guy once, after all. Whatever. Just take your stuff and get out of here. I can't believe you managed to forget all this. It's not like you to be so careless, but maybe you just wanted to give me another job to do. So annoying. Have you and your mom ever tried coffee that Kevin has made? What on earth are you talking about? I don't see how this is relevant to anything. Why would Kevin have made coffee for us? If he did, of course we would try it, but he's a surgeon and not a barista. Oh, that's such a shame. He makes a great cappuccino, you know. You should skip the desserts, though, just speaking from experience. The staff there put bits of hair or plastic in the food, and they say you put them there deliberately if you complain. My friend almost got really hurt. I don't even know why I'm telling you this. You're family now, so I'm sure he must have told you all about it. I have no idea what you're talking about. Have you just completely lost your mind since the divorce? Can you not manage living alone? No, nothing like that. Look at this, though. Doesn't this guy look so much like your precious new family member, Kevin? Until yesterday, he was working part-time at the cafe around the corner. Apparently he got fired, though, so I guess really he's unemployed now. Seems as though he was working in cafes and restaurants while pretending to be some kind of hotshot doctor. I wonder where he will work now that he was fired from this cafe. It's tough finding a job these days. Are you still so proud of your talented son-in-law? Now you know the kind of person he is? How does he earn money if he keeps getting fired? No, I just don't believe this. Why would Kevin be in a place like that? This is definitely him in the photograph. Why does this file say he's only ever worked in supermarkets, cafes, and restaurants? Why isn't the hospital listed on here as one of his employers? How did you get this? Were you sneaking around like a detective or something? I told you. I went to see if coffee made by surgeons was any good. Turns out he is pretty good, but I guess he has lots of practice from all his jobs. You should try it for yourself sometime. Anyway, I had better get going and head on home. No! This has to be a lie! I won't believe it. I'm sure this is all just a mistake. How can you come round here and tell us all this nonsense? You've met him. You know he's a respectable man, not some lying cheat. I knew it. You must be jealous of our family for having such a successful surgeon. Is that why you came back? To try to ruin our happiness? Of course not. Don't be silly. You should go by the cafe one day and check for yourself. The manager is very accommodating. Besides, there are plenty of medical professionals in my family, too. If you're lying to us right now, I'm going to kill you. That would be really low, even for you. Like I said, go and check for yourself and then see if you still want to speak to me like that.
Mom, what are you doing here? You didn't call or anything. I don't have any food to give you.
Gladys, Chris, what are you both doing here? Is something up? What's wrong? Be honest and speak fast. Who are you and what do you want with our family? Why did you marry my sister?
Chris, stop it! Why are you grabbing him by the collar like that? Let him go!
Please, Chris, I don't know what's going on. We paid a visit to the hospital you told us you worked at, and we found out about everything. We gave them your name, and none of them knew you or could find you on the system. You lied to us. The hospital director had no idea who you were either, and didn't recognize your face when we showed him a photo of you. What have you done? How could you lie to us about everything? Who are you? Are you really some unemployed layabout who has been working in cafes for the last few years? Huh? Speak to me and be honest. Quickly!
Mom, what are you talking about? Please slow down. I've seen Kevin in his scrubs. I know he is a surgeon. He doesn't work in a cafe. He had to work late last night, too, seeing all his patients and getting all his surgeries done. You must have heard something wrong, or someone has given you the wrong information.
No, Sophie, we haven't. Listen to us. Look at this file, too. This is his personal CV, with all his information and work history. We went to the cafe that's listed here and asked them if he was an employee. We checked everything, I promise. He lied to us. Huh. Jess tried to warn me about you, and I told her she was a liar and that she was jealous of our family. She was right about you all along. I heard you got fired from this cafe too, huh? What are you doing now? Did you just go out all day and walk around to pretend you're at work?
Babe, please tell me what's going on. This can't be true, right? They must have misunderstood, right? There's no way you would lie to me like this.
Well, about that. Actually, just get to the point. Stop trying to kill time. I'm really, truly sorry. I just loved Sophie so much and wanted to be with her, so I lied. So you admit it? You lied to us all so you could marry my daughter.
I don't understand. Do you mean everything they're saying is true? You're not really a surgeon? Do you even work in a hospital? You must not be the son of the hospital director, then. Who are your parents, really? These are my in-laws, and I don't even know who they really are.
I hired a couple of actors to pretend to be my parents when you met them. They said they were role-play actors or something like that. I just paid them to pretend to be my parents. You have to understand my position, though. It wasn't like I was lying about having a job. Like you said, I was working at the cafe down the road. You're being unfair to call me a layabout. It was only meant to be a small lie, but somehow it just kind of blew up. Now it's become this elaborate scheme when all I wanted was a life with Sophie. I have plans to get a job in business, though, and I want to join one of the big companies soon. Don't worry, Gladys. I will provide for your daughter and give her a good life. If Sophie can just support me for a short while until I get a job, I know I can do it. What did you just say? Do you mean you're still unemployed? You haven't gotten a new job since you were fired from the cafe. Oh, my poor heart. I can't believe crooks like you are really out there in the world. What did we do to deserve this? So you mean to say that this whole time we've been complimenting you on your hard work and drive as a surgeon, given you a house, welcomed you into our family, and it was all a lie? Are you crazy? How could you think any of this was okay? You need to get this sorted out today. Do you realize my marriage ended because of you? My wife filed for divorce because of your actions. I just can't believe this. What are you going to do? You lying crook. Marriage isn't just to do with how you look. Surely you realized you would be found out eventually. How could you do this to our family? What did we ever do to you to deserve this?
I can't believe I married you and had no idea about any of this. Didn't you stop to think about what it would do to me when I found out the truth about you? How could you pretend to be some successful surgeon while you weren't even employed? And you lied to my whole family as well.
I can see why you feel like I deceived you, and I'm sorry that I hurt you, Sophie. I swear I never went into this intending to lie to you and hurt you. Honestly, please believe me. I really do love you, Sophie. I swear. Marriage used to be about two people who loved each other agreeing to spend their lives together. Their jobs weren't important. Don't you see why I did it?
You'll have to forgive me if I don't believe that you love me after the lies you've been telling me this whole time. In fact, I don't think you would have ever told me what was going on if you hadn't been found out. You're only telling us because you got caught. And now you're telling me you did all of this because you love me? You're lucky you just discovered what was going on instead of me piecing everything together. I married you. You signed your name on the papers and took me as your wife, knowing you had lied to me.
I know, sweetie, but Jess only came to us today and told us what was going on. Wait a second. How long must Jess have known about this? Now that I think about it, it seems like she had known for a little while. I'm going to call her and find out exactly what happened and when. Why, you! How long have you known the truth about Kevin and hidden it from us? Huh? Answer me! Oh my god, please stop yelling at me. You're not my mother-in-law anymore. Show some respect. You're making my ears hurt screaming down the phone. I asked you how long you had known all this. Tell me! Well, I think it was from around the time that Sophie told me I had to come to her wedding and pretend I was still married to Chris. What was that, about a month ago? Maybe a bit more. What? You mean you knew about his lies before she had married him? If you knew about it, you should absolutely have told us straight away. What were you thinking? Why are you only telling us now? Goodness, if you had just been honest with us as soon as you found out. Maybe she wouldn't have married that useless, lazy, good-for-nothing, and we wouldn't be going through all this now. There's nothing we can do about it now, though. They've signed and sent off their declaration of marriage. It's all been finalized. To be honest, Gladys, I was looking forward to watching how everything played out when you did eventually find out he had been lying to you all along. What were your faces like? Did your mouths drop open? You should know, this is karma for kicking me out of my own home just because you thought your new son-in-law was some superstar surgeon. Now it turns out he's a broke bum. God, this is all just so funny, don't you think? Are you seriously laughing right now? How could you do this to us? You should have told us and saved all this heartbreak. When have we ever done anything wrong to you? Huh? We've always treated you well. Are you really asking me that? Do you genuinely not know why I filed for divorce? Well, I guess if you had known, then maybe things would have turned out differently and I would have missed all this fun. I hope you enjoy supporting your new son-in-law, since he doesn't have a job to support himself. Still, I guess he has been trying to earn money with all his part-time jobs. Maybe tell him to sort himself out and stop getting fired. I'm sure that would help. He really was terrible at his job. I'm not surprised he got fired. If a customer raises an issue and you decide to start a fight, it just seems like a deliberate attempt to lose your job, honestly. You should tell him to sort out his temper. I'm sure that would help him hold down a job. Although, I did hear recently that part-time workers get laid off all the time with the economy doing so badly. Maybe a full-time job would be a better idea. If he can even get one. What did you just say? God, I can't believe you're being so selfish. Oh, I'm so scared. Do you really think shouting at me is going to fix anything? You brought this on yourself. You should be yelling at your daughter, who fell for all his lies and tricks and brought him into your family. I'm hanging up now, since we're done talking. I have nothing to do with you anymore, so bye forever. Hey! Don't you dare hang up on me, Jess! Aren't you going to apologize for hiding this from me? Hey! What did she say? Were you right? Had she known about this for a while? She said she knew about his lie since before Sophie's wedding. God, I really can't believe this.
Well, if she knew about it for that long, she had plenty of opportunities to tell me what was going on. I can't believe she would keep the secret from us.
Sophie, since we're married now anyway, we might as well give it a shot. I promise I'll sort myself out and get a job to support you. You can have an easy life with me. I mean, I already brought in a salary for us from my part-time jobs, so it shouldn't be hard for me to find work again.
Oh my God, Kevin, stop being ridiculous. We're over, okay? Even if it turned out you were a nurse instead of a doctor, I would still have ended things. You can't lie to someone about something like that. And you're not even a nurse. You're a part-time waiter. God, this is all so unbelievable. It's like something out of reality TV. I'm going to sue you for marriage fraud, so get ready for that. You should probably go find a lawyer or something. Man, you're actually such an idiot to think I would stay with you after this.
Honey, please. Marriage fraud. There's no reason to go that far, I swear. We were so happy together. Our love was real, even if I did lie about who I was. Why are we making such a fuss about me not really being a surgeon? I swear I will be good to you for the rest of my life if you just give me another chance. How about it? Gladys, won't you talk to her? Please, just trust me one more time. I'm begging you. Oh, please be quiet. What sin did I commit in a previous life to have to watch my son and now my daughter both get divorced? Why me? Why do I deserve this punishment? After all this, my ex-sister-in-law sued her former husband for marriage fraud and filed for divorce. She did also call me and ask why I hadn't told her about Kevin's secret before, if I knew what was going on. Honestly, I didn't see any reason to. I was divorced and had no ties to their family anymore. I didn't know any of them anything. I thought about how my mother-in-law had treated me through my marriage to Chris and decided that they should be punished somehow for being so shallow and cruel. After that, I blocked all the numbers of my previous family and never spoke to them again. Since my own divorce, I have been living happily and peacefully by myself, fulfilling my days with friends and fun. I was also recently promoted at work for my skills and dedication, which was some much-needed professional recognition. I also managed to buy my own flat with the money I have been saving for a while. I'm proud of myself for making it on my own. I know my parents were really worried about me after my divorce, thinking I would be stressed and lonely by myself. Now, though, they see the happy life I've built for myself and tell me how proud they are of me for finding my own way and living my own life. I'm free of my meddling, interfering in-laws, and I have never felt more relaxed and comfortable. In my house, too, I can buy the furniture I like and decorate it however I want to. It's been so fun, and it's really starting to come together. In the past, my mother-in-law would come to visit us in the house that she bought us and complain about the decor. She always said we should decorate it how she wanted, since she had bought it for us. Looking back at my past, I know I made the right decision to leave when I did. I finally realized that my mother-in-law was never going to be fair or kind to me, and I needed to get out. Perhaps you think I made the wrong choice. I hope that if there is something bothering you about your own life, you will trust yourself and live your life boldly, just like me. It can be tough for a while to make such a big change, but a happier and more peaceful life than you could ever imagine is waiting for you. I'm proof of that. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to see more content.